Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Ratliff Mandolins weekly production diary series. And for those of you who are regular viewers of the series, you know that on our job jar list this week was to glue as many fretboards as we possibly could. And last week we had a couple of comments where folks wanted to see a bit more in detail of that entire process. So I decided to dedicate most of this video to gluing the fretboards on and trying to show as much of that as I possibly could. And so let's break it kind of down into steps. Step number one, we have to have a prepared fretboard. And so I'm going to run just a little bit of a video clip showing me getting a fretboard ready. And we'll show that right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that we have a prepared fretboard, it's time to fit it to the mandolin, make sure it stays aligned down the center line of the neck, and build the fretboard extender and install the truss rod. So we're going to run some footage of those jobs being taken care of. And now let me give you a quick overview of my fretboard gluing jig and wheel glue a fretboard on. This is my fretboard clamping gluing jig. It's homemade, made out of 3 pipes for feet and framework. It has 2 identical platforms that are T-shaped. Long T here, 2 pieces of 4-inch U-channel for the long piece with an air space down in between. These, like I said, there's an upper and a lower platform, so to speak. The lower platform has a shoe on it in the shape of a mandolin fretboard, and the mandolin will fit in it. First the fretboard and then the mandolin. And these 2 clamps right here squeeze this way to keep the mandolin and the fretboard from sliding sideways with each other during the clamping process. And the upper platform here has 3 separate movable clamping heads that have 3 clamps capable of delivering downward pressure on each one. This jig, as you can see, actually has a total of 9 clamps, plenty enough to do guitars and mando-cellos, but for a mandolin we only have to go this far right here, so it's about room for 5 of these clamps. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You have a thing down here that keeps the fretboard and the mandolin lined up, and things up here that push down and actually deliver the clamping pressure. So right now we're going to do the fretboard on mandolin number 10. So let's watch that happen. And now I'm happy to report that we indeed did get all of the fretboards glued on all of the mandolins this week. Let me show you. But these are not the only things that got done this week at Ratliff Mandolins. I also got a chance to do a fair amount of work on the mando-cellos. I took both neck blanks and cut the truss rod slots and glued the peg head ears on. And for both backs I glued the halves together, so they are now ready to profile and start the whole carving process. So some minor milestones on both of those instruments was accomplished this week. As you know, we have a new video put up each and every week. So if nothing bigger than a shoestring doesn't break, I'll be back next week with a new edition of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary Series. Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me. You have a good week, and we'll look for you next weekend. Thanks.